very excited to be joined by a 13-year NBA veteran, 11-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champion, a gentleman in the true sense of the word I had the pleasure to cover when I was covering that Miami Heat team back in 2010-11, Chris Bosh. Chris, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Good to see you as well.
All right, so obviously I knew you from your time in Miami, but you were a Raptor for a very long time. How emotionally invested are you feeling in this really cool Toronto run?
You know what? I wasn't that emotionally invested till I went back. I've been working with TSN covering the finals. And, going back and seeing the fans and seeing everybody happy, seeing the spirit of the city strong and intact, and really making history by being in the NBA finals. I mean, it's an amazing thing. I'm so happy for the fan base because they've been dedicated. They've gotten their hearts broken time after time. And they continue to just come back and compete and believe. And to see them, being able to compete for a championship is amazing. And just to get that magical title run, those things are, looking back on it myself, it was one of the best times, craziest times in the city. But it's crazy how much the whole city, and in their case, the whole country, can get behind the team and, come together for a great cause.
Chris, you're no stranger to doing work on television. You're really good at it. How have you enjoyed being in the studio during this finals for TSN?
It's been great, man. It's different. And I've worked TV before, but just, it's interesting being on the other side. I have my media pass lanyard, and I'm walking around the gym and everything, talking to all the guys, seeing old faces and stuff like that. But it's been great. It's been a wonderful experience. The guys at TSN have done a phenomenal job, and we're just now scratching the surface. Looks like it's going to be a very long series. So, I just love basketball, and if I can be around the game in any kind of way and have fun doing it, and thank you for the compliment and doing a great job at it. It's all good. I mean, it's the best place in the world to be. The finals is the biggest stage ever.
I love the image of you with the media badge. Here's my only pro tip to you: don't eat the media food. I promise you you'll thank me later.
You know what? I've eaten the media food, actually. Sometimes, every now and then it gets rough, and you might not get a good pregame meal back when I was playing. So when you get to the arena, sometimes whatever they have for the media, you had to gut it out and eat it. And yeah, you are right. Not every arena in the league takes their media food very seriously. So, for everybody struggling out there, I'm with you.
God bless the concessions. I saw something the other day. I loved it. So Steve Kerr, back when the roles were reversed, when he was sitting in the TV studio, when he was doing television work, said that you and your Heat team weren't going to be able to three-peat. And you pointed at the camera and said, "Hey, Steve, you guys aren't going to be able to do it." It was really funny. Do you believe that? Do you think the Warriors come up short here?
I mean, you know what? Looking at the injury, I don't know if you saw the injury report today, but it just, when it rains, it pours. With Kevin Looney being out, as soon as I saw in the last game, Klay Thompson grabbing his hamstring, that's a major, major problem. We went to 4 finals in a row and we were banged up. I couldn't imagine going to 5. And, I remember things. I'm a competitor, and, I remember Steve saying that, and I was just so mad. And I couldn't believe it. And, he ended up being right. It's just a special thing. And, us coming up short, that made me have more respect for Kobe and Shaq, for Michael Jordan, which is crazy that they did it twice, and Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson and all those guys, to be able to continually get back to the promised land and deliver. That's not a very easy thing to do. But I just wanted to return the favor. You know what I mean? It's all good. I'm sure they haven't heard much of it, but, he said it. So I'm like, oh, yeah, hey, man, isn't that crazy? It's funny how crazy, things work out sometimes. So it would only be right if I would, return the favor back to Steve Kerr. Plus, he's got enough rings already.
Yeah, man. No, turnabout is fair play. It's an interesting point that he made that you're making. We had Isaiah Thomas on the show a couple weeks ago. Obviously, he had a two-peat with those Pistons teams. And just this notion that maybe people, media fans, even players who haven't done it, don't understand the physical, emotional drain of playing that much basketball year after year after year. Can you just give us a sense, maybe the specifics behind why that extra basketball into June, year after year after year, takes a toll?
Well, I mean, you have to think about it for people that don't understand. Sometimes you just turn on the TV, but if you go all the way to the finals, right, and they've upped it, but it's still going into mid to late June. Training camp starts in mid-October, so that's 2.5 months, if that, and you're right back in the grinder, having to play 82 games plus 6 to 8 preseason games just to get back to the playoffs. And try to win it. And just, the mental and emotional toll that it takes on you, getting up every night for every game, getting the other team's best, having to prepare day after day, your body and your mind to go out there and compete at a championship level, it's really not made for you to just reign, continuously year after year. So eventually it's going to catch up with you. And I mean, nobody's played more basketball than the Golden State Warriors. It's not even close, So if you're the champs and you're playing the most games and, salary cap issues start to pile up and you don't get any, draft picks or anything like that, it kind of continues to wear on you. And it's a very difficult position to be in. And dealing with expectations too, for whatever reason, our society thinks that winning a championship is easy. I don't know where they got it from, but everybody assumes like, oh yeah, 3 in a row. Oh yeah, back to back. That's it. And they just don't understand how difficult it really truly is. The guys who have done it before understand. So you have to experience it to even know or to even come close to what it's like. But it's very, very challenging.
All right, so series obviously tied 1-1. We'll get news at some point on Klay Thompson. Andre Iguodala looked beat up. You referenced the Kevon Looney injury. I mean, obviously Kevin Durant's out for the time being, and yet the Warriors played much better defense in Game 2 than Game 1. Same number of points, got the win. If the Raptors, Chris, win the series, outside of Kawhi Leonard being really, really good at basketball, what do you think it looks like? What do you think they need to do for that to happen?
Well, I mean, they got to get some strong bench production, and I'm a big. I love the bigs. I think Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, they should be more aggressive in looking for their shots. I think they were a little passive in Game 2. If they look to be more aggressive and get some second chance opportunities, get some of those timely open jumpers just to keep the defense honest, I think that can go a long ways there. And just production from everyone else. Kyle Lowry, he can't get in foul trouble. He's got to stay in the game. He's got to play smart, and he's got to be aggressive as well. I think, he's got to be that guy to be that second option consistently. And, they play the team ball, but I think if he's aggressive early, looking for a shot, and he activates himself offensively in the game, they're a much, much different team. They're a better team. They have to be a little more honest. And, when he's killing off the pick and roll, they're tough to stop. But I think they should look for ways to kind of play Kawhi off the ball a little bit so he's not making plays and guys are making plays for him. And, of course, Siakam, he had a great Game 1, struggled a little bit in Game 2. That's to be expected. But if he's aggressive in attacking the rim and being aggressive in trying to put pressure on him in transition, I think that's where he's at his best. So, with them winning and if they win the series, those will be the things to get them over the hump, which, Golden State is short right now. And they were already thin from the beginning, but now guys continue to come out and be out. I think the Raptors definitely have to push the pace and use all those bodies that they have and just try to run, which is crazy to say, but just try to run the Warriors out the building and make fatigue a factor.
Chris, some renewed focus on Steph Curry and his place in the game. Andre Iguodala has been pretty vocal about this, saying he thinks he's the second best point guard of all time. The other day, saying that one of the reasons he plays through the pain is to defend Steph's legacy. You know a thing or two about greatness. If I had my way, and I think you will be, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. Dwayne Wade's going to be in the Hall of Fame. That LeBron James guy you play with, he's pretty good at basketball historically. Where do you think the reasonable conclusion is at this point where Steph Curry ranks in the history of the game?
Well, I mean, he's definitely, if people don't say he's one of the greatest players to play the game, they're really fooling themselves. He's in a class of his own. back-to-back MVPs, 3 championships, and, trying to make it 4. That's amazing. I mean, he's one of those guys that revolutionized the game, and he doesn't get enough credit for that. Him and Klay Thompson changed the NBA. They let it be known that, yeah, you can shoot the 3 from way back there, and he's inspired a generation of point guards and players to be honest with you. And sometimes you got to let people know. And I understand what Andre is saying, but yeah, he's a truly great player. You can put him in the Hall of Fame right now, and nobody would be able to argue that. He's done a lot for the game. He's done so much, and I mean, he's still going. He's gonna eclipse every 3-point record probably that's ever been made, and that should be credited. So, I think sometimes, when you're such a great player like that, and he has such a calm demeanor, he really doesn't say much about it. But I agree with Andre. You got to let people know, or they'll forget, or won't even give you credit. So, Steph, take your credit, bro.
All right, I love it. Last question for you. You play with LeBron. You've been around LeBron. As you can imagine, here in L.A., a lot of talk about LeBron, the Lakers, the drama, what's going to happen. The good, the bad, for your money, what is the reality of playing with LeBron James? And if you were giving advice, if some free agent came to you and said, hey, Chris, trying to figure out what I should do, thinking about going to the Lakers to play with LeBron, what would you tell
him? LeBron, he makes it easy. He's a great teammate. Great family guy, easy to play basketball. He makes the game so easy. He's a true point guard. He gets people involved. He knows the game of basketball. He always gets a bad rap for being tough to play with. And that's just, a stigma that was made up in the media, to be honest with you. But he's not tough to play with. He's a great player. Isaiah Thomas, Kobe Bryant, Jordan, Shaq, Magic Johnson. Everybody that played with those guys had to mold their game around them because that's how great they are. And you become a better player for it. So, that's what I would tell people. I would tell people to, sit down with LeBron yourself and talk to him and work things out and just see, pick his brain about basketball and see what his vision is and what he would do to incorporate you into, games or into the team. And people would be very, very surprised. But, he's one of the greatest teammates I've ever had in the history of me playing basketball. And, he always does a phenomenal job. He loves playing basketball, always have been an unselfish guy. And I mean, and I mean unselfishness on so many levels, as far as credit, as far as, he's got a million deals. So gifting things, he makes the best gifts, He's just an overall, all-around great teammate. And that's what I would tell people, and if they want to make that decision to go there, they should talk to him and, prepare themselves and play basketball. That's what it is at the end of the day, is playing basketball. And, he's an unselfish guy. And if you have a selfish nature about yourself, it's probably not going to work. But if you're unselfish too and are willing to figure things out with him, then, it's a match made in heaven.
Chris Bosh, it's always an absolute pleasure visiting with you. Very gracious of you to make time. Congrats on what's going to be and is already a very successful broadcasting career. I'm not just saying this because we're talking to each other. You're very good at it. We just saw that in the interview. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.